Hello, hello, my friends. You are here for another edition of Ryan Drawing Comics. My Kickstarter is officially done as of Sunday. It did. I mean, for a first Kickstarter, I thought it did really well, and I'm really happy with it. It 500% of my goal. It was a really modest goal. It was only like $1,000, but the fact that the comic sold for $5,000 worth is really nice. I'm so happy about that. Especially because I see the potential and where it could go. So those of you that supported it and bought a copy, I love you. I love you forever, and I hope you enjoy it once we get to shipping. Hopefully it makes you want to get the next one. And just thank you guys. This has been one of the most exciting things that I've ever done. And immensely satisfying to see people, want to support my work and take interest in my stories. And yeah, it's been great. Sorry, I should be a little more articulate, but I'm a little distracted because I'm really eager to draw. So I'm already on to the next project. So today we're going to be working on pages for Knights of Camelot, hence the beautiful Gregorian chant soundtrack. Technically, that's not what this is, but whatever. It's going to be one of those nights where Ryan puts on choir music and draws semi-religious imagery. We already got our first guy in. What's up, Johnny? Wow, internet, says Johnny. Did you not have internet earlier today? Is that what you're saying? Or is this like your first time encountering the internet? I find that hard to believe, considering how well I know you, Johnny. I hope the sound of me drinking water wasn't too disturbing to those of you who were unfortunate enough to hear me at the mic. Or Johnny, do you mean wow internet, or do you mean like wow internet? Like you're very impressed by the internet. See, I'm already fussing about this arm. I had this idea of her having all this like kind of some like this Celtic jewelry, but now I'm realizing I don't know. I don't think that necessarily works for the way I've drawn her, because it's like she's almost naked. So I like the idea of her almost having nothing. Like she's just the lady of the lake kind of came out of the water. Fishbone jewelry. She's got some fish scales on her. Coming out of her hair a little bit. I thought I would put some more of it around her elbows and, you know, her joints. And I'm giving her eyes that are going to be like vaguely aquatic. Yeah, it was. I noticed that, Johnny. I'm still trying to figure out how this stuff works. I just saw that it was 8 people in the stream, and then it dropped to 2 in like a second, and then it's going to jump back up to like 6, and I'm like, what's happening? It's odd. So what I'm doing now is this is the Lady of the Lake running her hands over the table. That was once the Knights of the Round Table. She's like remembering, their lives. Who would like to see some completed pages that I've already done for this project? Show of hands. Johnny says, I'm brainstorming, writing down random stuff for a new story. Don't know what that's called. I guess brainstorming, yeah. You're in the sketch phase. What about that other thing you were working on? Did that finish already? You were writing some vampire fiction, I think. So what are you doing with these when you're done working on them? Are you publishing these stories anywhere? Are you looking to publish them or do anything with them? I mean, working on it is definitely its own reward. But I'm curious, do you have any ambitions with these things you're working on? Oh, that's a chair. Got it. Hey, Edgar. I hope you're not driving. Thanks for checking in, buddy. Drive safe. I know you're a passenger, but still, drive safe. Johnny says, I'm trying to get someone to play them, but everyone is in their own campaigns. I'd like to have my own homebrew stuff available on the shelves in game stores someday. Hey, yeah, that'd be awesome, man. How would you go about doing that, Johnny? Would you try to get an artist attached to do some art for it? Can I tell you something? As someone who just did his first Kickstarter and was exposed to the Kickstarter world, tabletop games on Kickstarter do insanely well. Like every single one I looked at. I mean, granted, I was probably only looking at the top percentage because that's how it works. They feed you the best stuff. Every tabletop game I looked at was just blowing up. Like first day funded, thousands upon thousands of dollars. People love games. So if you ever like, I don't know how you would do it. You just kind of put together the game and then send it out. You would need to have an artist attached. Not necessarily somebody big or anything, just somebody who can do some art for it. I don't know exactly how it would work, but if you ever wanted to do it as a crowdfunding thing to get it on shelves, yeah, consider Kickstarter. Okay, I'm going to bring in some of the art that I've been working on. I want to show you guys some of this cool stuff. So here are some recent pieces. Not Reese's Pieces. Some recent pieces. You've seen this one before. Page 1 for Knights of Camelot, where the Lady of the Lake goes to Arthur's tomb. I came back to it recently and I added some traditionalizer stuff to make it look more traditional. Like there's, if you zoom in, there's some painting effects, so where you give it that cracked look of like chipped paint. It looks really awesome. I love it. I'm going to use these on a lot of stuff. You can really notice it here. And then this page I'm working on. This is a sketch for something else. Yeah, this is the page that's my favorite page in the whole book so far. This is page 11. This is a battle scene. This is Arthur at the Battle of Camlin. So we're starting with his final battle to show how he died, and then we're going to start the cycle again. But this was a lot of fun. Again, you see this background. These are the traditionalizer brushes. To give it that like dried oil canvas look. Really happy with this area here. Arthur's face. This took a lot of time to get this detail. And then Bedivere, the one-handed, over here, and next to him is Sir Kay. Sir Kai, I think is pronounced. And this is Bedivere and Kai, or Kay, whatever, leading the cavalry. And then there's this page, which is the page right before the one I'm working on now. So what's happening is the Lady of the Lake is wandering into the throne room or really it's the altar, where the council met, and she's blowing this candle, you know, lighting it with magic. The candle's floating in her hand as she's walking. Excuse me. She's walking to the door where that leads to Arthur's throne room. Just walking in. We follow her in, and then, oh my God, look at this cool room. This was all done in Procreate. This is like... it all very good. Thanks, Johnny. This might be my favorite page so far. I don't know. I find backgrounds a lot easier and faster in Procreate. It flows faster. But yeah, this is... I'm sorry I'm yawning so much, guys. Every time I start streaming, I start yawning. It must be the music. The music calms me. But anyways, this is my template for the round table hall, which I'm thinking I might make separate from the throne room, but I'm also kind of hoping that it makes more sense for them to be in one place. I think that he would have the round table right next to his throne. But it's at night and it's been abandoned and the stained glass is gone, so she's just kind of looking out at, this once great place. And so this is the next page where she runs her hand over the, over the round table, and it's like, this was where Arthur once sat. And then she's going to turn her head here. And then this big panel is going to be, I think it's going to be her looking at Arthur's throne, right? That makes sense? That it would be in the same room. I think it makes sense to be in the same room. It was going to be a statue of Arthur, and then as I was doing this, I was realizing it's way better if it's his throne. Oh, thanks, man. Again, I use the traditionalizer brushes here. So let me see, this background. Yeah, I mean, the way I'm trying to see in this panel is, what would be in the background, but I'm realizing behind her, I made this so large that when she gets over here, it's just going to be like a big empty negative space, which is good. Because I can just not let the panel get too busy. Okay. I'm gonna just, there you go. See, so I'm flipping these because I'm realizing it might be better to make sure the action is flowing in that direction. Yeah. Yeah, I think this is probably better. Okay. So my concept of his throne was that it would be really like massive and impressive, because my version of Arthur is like kind of a half giant. He's really, really large. So gotta offset it a little bit. Maybe put her a little more strongly in the foreground. I got a better idea. I'm going to center it. I figured this would be a quieter stream, because I haven't been on here like a week, and whenever I take a little bit of time off, I feel like there's fewer people, But some of that's also because I haven't been scheduling. I really have to have like a steady schedule. Sometimes I do it 4 times in a week. Sometimes I do it once or twice a week. So none of you guys really know what to expect, and that's also because my schedule's been a little up in the air. So it wouldn't be worth doing it now, like making it an official thing. But I do need to do that in the future so that these streams can, yield some more real results for introducing more people to myself and my work, and but also just for you guys, for your enjoyment. I don't want anybody to be frustrated because they're like, I wanted to catch your stream, but I never know when you're going to be on. I understand that. I'm just going through Google Image right now and looking up different thrones from history, and I'm just combining I'm combining a bunch of them to make something probably very impractical, but super cool. I think I'll put like 2 different religious paintings here on both sides. That'd be cool. trying to decide how much her robe should fit to her form, but I'm thinking have it just hang down, have it be a flowing, beautiful robe. I might even, let me see, how did I do it on the first page? Oh, this actually comes kind of short. Oh, I'm remembering. Okay, my design was different. I'm going to stick to that. That looks good. I was going for something a little sexier, I guess. Hey, what's up, Jerry? Welcome. Is this your first time catching any of my streams, or have you been subscribed for a little bit? Oh, awesome. Well, welcome, man. Where are you from, Jerry? Here, I'll give you a little showcase of what I'm working on. This is for this Knights of Camelot comic book I'm working on, and here's page 1. These are some random pages assortment here. And this is page 11. Yeah, this is page 11. Some battle scenes. This is what they look like when they're done. It's very different than what it looks like when I'm sketching, as you'd expect. This is pages 2 to 3. Right here, it's a big spread. And this is page 4. Hey, what's up, Roberto? This is something I'm planning to either publish or do on Kickstarters, because I just, this Sunday, I just finished my first ever Kickstarter, and it was like a really big success. I mean, you know, it was my first one, so, but it raised like 500% of its goal, and I actually turned a profit on this book that I worked on. So now I'm like, you know, maybe I don't need to do any of this with publishers anymore. You know, because I've worked with a few publishers. I've done, you know, I've been in comics for a while now. But Kickstarter was always this thing on the back, you know, where I was like, ooh, that looks pretty cool. I want to try that one day because it looks like some people are having success with that. But I was always a little intimidated by it. And then I just was in a position where I kind of had to do it for this book to get it out. And it ended up doing pretty well. So now I'm just thinking maybe Kickstarter is going to be something I keep using. So yes, I am planning on selling this book once I'm done with book 1, hopefully, you know, within 2025. And yeah, then it'll be available. Roberto says, oh wow, cool, man. Gets on the successful Kickstarter. Oh, congrats. Sorry, my vision's a little blurry. Congrats on the successful Kickstarter. Thank you so much. That's great, man. You're very talented. What do you think about the AI art? You think artists like yourselves will ever become obsolete? No, I don't think so. I don't worry about it too much. Well, for one thing, comics in general, it's a lot harder to use an AI program to make a whole comic because it randomly generates images It's not like it can make consistent panel art, where it looks like it's hard to control it enough to just tell a sequential story like this. But even if it did, I'm not worried because it's the cultural temperature right now is that people are so sick of AI. Like, there's so many people that are just like laughing at how hideous a lot of it is, and people still use it for things, and people always will, and it'll probably become a part of the landscape. But it already is, but like it'll become a part of the process of making art. A artist will use it. I know some artists already do. I don't, and I don't ever plan to. I don't know why. I don't know, but yeah, in general, I don't worry. I don't think it's going to be an issue for me. And because even if it did, even if they were able to have an AI that could make a comic book, people like art made by humans. Like, people just they do want that, and so they like it'll just become one of those things where it's like, oh, cool, this was drawn by a person. That's so exciting to me. That's so cool. Just like how people treat this digital art versus stuff that's done analog on canvas. Like, people have this higher value for that stuff sometimes because it's like, oh, you did this the old fashioned way, and it'll be the same. But I mean, if the culture ever were to get to a place where people are just more interested in art and movies made by artificial intelligence than they are in actual art made by people, then it's like, I'm checking out of that society. I have no interest in it. That's it. That's time to go live in a cabin and make your own toilet paper. Yeah. Art will always be authentic, and there's always a market for classic genres of any art form. Yeah. It's also, if you really want to know what I think, AI art it's a false term because it's not art. It's made by a generative computer. It's a generated image. It's not artwork. Calling it art is it's the wrong nomenclature. It's the wrong term. It's just generated images. It literally doesn't pass muster to be art by definition, because art is something made by people creatively. It's an organic thing. A computer just generating images is like, that's not. It might look like art. It might trick some people, but it's not. It's not really art. So I strongly discourage anybody from using the term AI art. I think we should just call it what it is, which is AI generated images theft. It's theft. The reason, also one of the reasons that I don't think it'll ever make artists fully obsolete is because it's going to get really bad if they ever get to a point where they're no longer using artists to do any of it, and they try to do, it's going to get really bad, because then what you've got is a copy of a copy of a copy, because it can't generate new things. It can only take things that have existed and kind of repurpose them in different sequences and combinations. So if you just keep doing that, eventually you hit creative bedrock. You just can't, there's nothing left. So, but if there's artists out there right now and they feel like they're not going to get work because of, don't be discouraged, guys. Just make the art you want to make. Don't worry. The world will always need artists. As crazy and as difficult as artists are to deal with, we are necessary. Frankenart's a really good way to put it. Zarian Preston, by the way, that is a if that's your real name, that's a really cool name. I'm a little jealous of how unique. Like that's such a strong name, Zarian. Where's that from? How have you trained to get your skills? If you don't mind my asking, I don't mind you asking. I mean, it's training might not be the right word. I mean, I guess it is. I mean, I did go to art school, but I went for classic art, for classical like drawing and painting, not really for illustration. So I don't think that's necessary for everybody. I don't think you have to go to art school. In fact, I think most of my development was after I quit. I mean, after I finished art school and I didn't draw for years. I think it was like 2 years. I didn't put pencil to paper at all after I graduated because I was so sick of art after that. And I was a boxer for a few years in my 20s. And then I came back to art after my sixth fight. I was just like, oh yeah, let me just, I was doing some contests. A friend of mine talked me into doing it. And I didn't win the contest, but I enjoyed drawing again and just drawing for my enjoyment, not doing some stupid assignment or some gallery piece and oil painting. I was like, oh yeah, I like just drawing with pen and paper. That's fun. So, that, I mean, the training you're talking about, honestly, what I did, and I do not advise that everybody does this, but I basically quit my job as a boxing coach and just started being like, okay, I'm going to take clients. And I had no clients. And I just jumped into this new career with kind of no safety net. And that first couple of years, that was rough, man, because I was broke all the time. But the thing is, the way that I trained, this is the long answer to your question, I'm sorry, is that I essentially, because I was literally dependent on it to eat, because I'd made it my career first thing, I basically had to get good really quickly. So I wasn't doing studies or anything. Instead, I was just like getting as much work as I could. And every time somebody offered me a job, I'd said, yes, whatever it was, yes, yes, yes. And then because it was like, this is how I'm going to pay for my chicken, I would just work my ass off and make it as good as I could. And so it's like you kind of jump in the water and see if you could swim, and you just get good as fast as you can. Because it's, going to make or break you. And like I said, I don't recommend everybody does that. I don't know that I recommend anybody does that, but for me, it was possibly the right decision because now I do this for a living and I live, I'm not a millionaire, but I do okay. And I feel like my career is growing. It's at a good place now where I just had my first, you heard me saying earlier, I had my first successful Kickstarter. My first Kickstarter, I should say, which was successful. And now it's like, I had one of those moments where I was talking to my mom and she was like, she's like, I worried about you when you first started this because you were basically quitting your lucrative job to do this. But she's like, I'm kind of glad you didn't listen to anybody and just did your own thing, son. That was cool. That was cool to hear from mom. She was just like, yeah. She's like, everybody. She's like, you just went out there and you just kept going even when things weren't going well, and it's paying off. So to answer your question, that's how I trained. Was I just jumped in the water and I made it. I made it the only way I was going to pay for my bills. That'll get you good in a hurry. Some people it doesn't work. Some people they get stressed out. I mean, I was stressed, but like it prevents them from growing because they're so stressed about money and. But I think because I had a background in boxing, I was like, something about the pressure. I was like, okay, yeah. Do people find it hard to pronounce Zary and Preston? I'm surprised by that. It feels like it's spelled exactly like it's pronounced. Yeah, you burned your bridges, no retreat, says Roberto. That is kind of how it went. I was just like, just quit, quit and moved on. And they were like, really? I remember my boss at the time, he was like, you got like a pretty good little situation here with your clients, I was a boxing coach and a trainer. And he was like, you're going to just drop all that because he's like, no, nothing, no safety net. I was like, yeah, I'm just going to do it. And he just looked at me like I was crazy. So my concept for Arthur's throne is that it would have kind of like an insignia of the sun. Now that's looking a little too. It's looking a bit evil. It's not exactly the vibe I want. It's looking more gothic. You want it to look like the rays of the sun. So let's try that again. It's better. Hold on. So what you're seeing here is I'm adding like a dragon motif to Arthur's throne because in a lot of the symbology and the stories, his banner was the dragon. In some versions, it's like the eagle or something, and I wanted to combine aspects of both. But the dragon, I mean, I can't not make Arthur's symbol, his banner, the dragon. I mean, what are we even doing here? Roberto says, "Hell of a story, man. Keep going, brother. The panel looks so good. I think chasing your passion is always the right move." Oh, thank you, man. God bless you. Zarian Preston says, I would have never guessed you used to be a boxer. That's really dope. Yeah, I was mostly a boxing coach. I had a couple of little competitive fights, but they were smoker matches. I earned a little bit of money off that. Most of the money I earned was as a coach, where I would teach boxing to people, including, people looking to compete. Like a lot of guys who were doing MMA would come in, and I would help them work on their hands. And I made a little bit of money as a sparring partner for, because I'm left-handed. I draw with my lefty, you see. And I boxed lefty, so if you were looking to fight a tall lefty, because I'm about 6'3", so if you're looking to fight a tall lefty, you would train with me, get good at it, and then get ready to fight that guy. So that was kind of how it went. But, my girlfriend at the time was like, you never broke your nose. Maybe you should quit while you're ahead. And I was like, yeah, you're right. Yeah, there were people that wanted me to keep doing it. They were like, you could probably have a really good career just being a coach. And, I don't know. It wasn't my passion. Like, I liked it, but, working in gyms for my whole life, that doesn't sound very appealing to me. It's just not what I envisioned for myself, Roberto says, we all have different chapters of our lives that help to develop our character throughout our own stories. Yeah, it's true. It really is. Because I've talked to people about, like, a lot of artists can be they can be pushovers, especially when it comes to, like advocating for themselves. Because creative types are not always, they're just not like that a lot of the time. They're not, they don't always know when to be like tough about making sure you get what you're owed financially. And I've messed up a couple of times in that way, where I've just like not looked at a contract too carefully, or I didn't negotiate hard enough, earlier on in my career. And now it's like, I just realized that I didn't have as much of a learning curve when it came to like knowing what you're worth. And I think some of that was because I had a background in boxing, where it's like you kind of, you can't be too nice. You got to be nice enough that people like you, but you can't undervalue yourself, And there's no replacement for like physical confidence. It really helps you in interactions, you just knowing that you can handle yourself. You'd be surprised how many situations in life it affects, like how you talk, how you act, how you move, how you think. And it's given me a lot of confidence that, in just who I am as a person. And, once you win, lose, or draw, once you've been in the ring with somebody who's trying to take your head off, it's like... you don't get nearly as scared doing like a comic panel where you're talking to a few hundred people or something. People are like, because I've only been streaming for a few months, really. It hasn't been a year yet. And when I first did it, people were like, have you been doing this a while? Because you seem like pretty comfortable. And it's just like, I'm just like, I don't get that nervous about things. And I think some of that is because after years of boxing, it's like, You know, like I said, it's when you're in a heavyweight boxing match and there's a guy who's even taller than me, who's like 6'5", and he's coming at me with like that look in his eyes. It's like after that, you know, okay, I'm on the internet now. Somebody might make fun of you on the internet. It's like I don't care. What are they going to say to me? I've been to high school. I know what it looks like to be insulted. But honestly, I haven't really had those negative experiences. Everybody that I've met since I started the YouTube channel, everybody that I've met through the Kickstarter, the fans who've read my stuff, who are like into my shit, the nicest people, like truly, like you guys are really nice, and other people I've met, they just, I am absolutely like melted by people's kindness, like how warm and inviting and sweet everybody is, and enthusiastic about art, and just like, you know, and yeah, that's it's been absolutely astounding. It's been like a religious experience. It's been like a spiritual thing to see how good people are, because I think we get a little caught up in the negativity, especially on the internet, and yeah, just seeing. Sorry, I keep yelling, guys. It's just late, but just seeing how kind and how truly good human beings are has been. Roberto says, "You do seem really focused on, and at ease in the whole streamer gig." Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, it is nice. It's like, there's nothing negative about it. You know, it doesn't, nobody's coming in trolling me. And if they did, it'd be like, whatever, it's the internet. I don't care. But yeah, it's just like most people are just chill. They're just, you know, people are, and a lot of people I think are starved for like positive engagement. You know, they really want that. They want to see that kind of positivity. One of my other streams, somebody asked me why I was listening to this music. Well, for one, I like it, but I find this relaxing at night to listen to. It's probably why I keep yawning. But some of it is that when I'm working on this, especially scenes like this for the Camelot, Knights of Camelot, I try to listen to music that sets the tone in my head, almost like a film soundtrack, like I'm listening to the soundtrack to a movie. And this would be like maybe the music for this scene would be, you know, she's in this ancient throne room and she's remembering the days of old, and it's very like Lord of the Rings ish, you know. So I try to create this like cinematic feeling so that it makes the art flow easy, you know. It just kind of like comes out, and I don't have to like stretch too far to get in the mood for it, you know. And some of that's also because I'm the writer as well. Like I write my own comics, and although this one I did have a co-writer for the beginning of it, and I think he might be coming back to help me when I publish. Wolvie, yo, what's up, man? Sorry I didn't see you there. How do I stream from my iPad? I'm gonna type this app name into the chat. It's called Camo. That's the app I use. So it's been a long road getting to use Camo because in the beginning I had a 4th generation iPad, which you can't use Camo to stream on a 4th generation iPad. So then I had to upgrade to a 5th generation iPad. I traded the old one in. Right now I'm using my Huion. This is not my iPad, but so I upgraded to 5th generation. So if you already have 5th generation or higher, then you are good to go with the Camo app. And yeah, what was I going to say? Yeah, so I have that, and the app is free. So you just download it, and it kind of works like OBS, which I think you use, right? You're using OBS right now. Like during your current streams, I believe, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, Wolvie. But it works very similarly. It's just there's just a lot of issues with it. Like that's why I don't always use it, because sometimes there's some things that are just easier and better with the iPad. But like Procreate, I love it. But here's an issue, Wolvie. I'm going to tell you all the issues I've been having. So the problem, okay, here's one of the problems. You see how right now I'm streaming using OBS, and you use OBS, I believe, Wolfie. So you know that you can change the sounds of certain things. Like the music right now, I have it at a low volume, and I have the microphone set at a different layer at a higher volume so that the music is in the background, but my voice is still prominent enough, and it all works very nicely. And it, took a little bit of a learning curve, but generally OBS works really well. I've had like no glitches. Camo is still figuring it out. So like it has the setting to be able to change the music volume versus the microphone, but it doesn't really work. I bring the music volume, the background music down to like here, like inches, from the start, and it's still going full blast. So sometimes when I'm streaming from the iPad, I just have no music on, because if I'm going to talk to people, I don't want to have to keep pausing the music because they can't hear me. So another thing is that, there's most of the issues are with the audio, because it's like, if I want to do like one of these streams that I've done where I have my friends call me in, call me up and we talk while I'm doing this, that has not really worked very well with the Camo app, because you can't, for some reason, I can't transfer sound to my headphones whenever I'm plugging in all that stuff with the extension cords and the adapter. It doesn't work either. So generally I can use it, but it's like when I use it for those streams, Camo on the iPad, it's really simple. Like I can't do as much of what I'm doing right now. And sometimes, not always, but sometimes it just drops. The stream will just collapse and I'll have to start over. There's like a lot of little problems with it. But if you want to use it, it's free. And if you figure some of that stuff out, you're probably smarter than me with that. You're a little younger than I am, probably a lot younger. So you're probably more tech savvy. And it's likely you'll figure it out. You'll see something I'm not seeing. And when you do, you can tell me. You can help out the old man who's having trouble. But yes, that's the app I use. It's just Camo. Roberto says, your dreams must be really vivid, I would imagine, considering you spend so much time manifesting something in your mind into reality. Your subconscious must go crazy during... What's funny? I do have vivid dreams sometimes, but lately I haven't really remembered any of my dreams. Do you remember your dreams? Do you recall them really easily? It's pretty hard for me. Yeah, it's true. You always dream. You just don't always remember your dreams. That is true. I've read that too. Roberto says, I recently had a client of mine tell me that she went to a sleep clinic and they gave her a machine for sleep apnea. And from the first night, she got a solid 8 hours. And that was the first time in over a decade that she had very immersive dreams. Okay, so I'm going to go in a minute, but I want to respond to that. I had insomnia for years, like on and off. And once I kind of cured my insomnia, like I figured out what the problem was, I started having tons of dreams that I could remember. And I realized that I probably wasn't sleeping deep enough to have dreams. And it was messing with my brain. Because you need to dream. Your brain needs to process information. It is of vital importance that you do. So that's really cool for her. I'm glad. And I'm actually going to go to sleep now. So it's appropriate that you bring this up, Roberto. I'm really glad people came in toward the end there. I really hope you guys join me next time. I'm sorry that I always end the stream as people are coming in, but it's I think later here than it might be for a lot of you guys. But good night. Thanks for showing up. God bless.